Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome to the Full Pelt Music Podcast in 2026. I'm absolutely delighted. In a moment, I'm going to be chatting with Greywind ahead of the release of their new album, Severed Heart City. But before then, the usual reminders from myself. If you would, please do follow Full Pelt on social media. We're on Facebook at Full Pelt and on X and Instagram at Full Pelt Music. And again, if you would, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, whatever you're watching or listening. But that's enough of all of that. Let's get on with the podcast. Let's go. Well, absolutely delighted today to welcome Steph from Greywind on to the Full Pelt Music Podcast. Obviously, we're talking about a week ahead of the release of your new album, Severed Heart City, which is out on the 16th of January. So the only question I can really open with is how excited are you?
Oh, I don't know. Can you tell by my face right now? I'm so excited. It's been a long time coming. I feel like I know our last album came out in 2017. So, and we've had an EP, we had the Angelo EP, but still a full album is just different. It's a proper body of work. So, and we've been sitting on some of the songs for a long time. Like some of them we wrote before Afterthoughts was even released. So, because we were going through all of that fun stuff, all of that, the Seven Heart. So yeah, we've been sitting on songs for a long time, and we've been so patient, and we've just poured our heart into it. And I hope people can hear that in the record, and I hope they relate to it in some way, or if they're happy, then I hope they don't. So, but yeah, I just can't wait for people to hear it fully.
Oh, absolutely. I've written the review for it already for us and going to get that out this week. It's a fantastic album, so I will
Oh,
rave about it during this podcast. And
oh,
obviously, listeners absolutely need to jump on it as soon as it is out. If not, beforehand, because you can pre-order it. So, yeah,
exactly.
always the best thing to do, pre-order a physical copy because physical
Yeah.
media is so much better than
Yeah,
digital.
and it looks so cool. The artwork, we're so proud of the artwork, even the booklet, like every detail. Me and Paul are so annoying. Like we care too much. Like even the artwork we worked with Don Fury who did he I think back in the day he worked on some My Chemical Romance stuff. So he knew the
Wow.
vibe we wanted. Like we had loads of intense Zoom calls with him detailing everything we want, and he just understood our vision so much, and he brought it to life for us. And so if you do buy the physical copy, then you'll see it nice, so nice. Like it's a nice piece of art, I think, as
It
well.
really is and helps bring the whole aesthetic of that album to life. So yeah, really excited to get into the album. But before we do, you've touched on it already. Antidote, your EP that came out, I want to say last year, but it's 2026 now. So
Yeah,
it
I was
was,
gonna say last year as well. I get
yeah.
confused. I'm like Happy New Year.
Yeah, it was actually our EP of the year in
Oh,
2024, and
thanks.
a fantastic EP. And I'm interested to see because obviously it had been a number of years since you released Afterthoughts, your debut album. How important was Antidote? I guess as kind of a stepping stone towards being able to release a full album.
It was so needed, just even for ourselves, just to put out. Even the reason it was called Antidote was that kind of in a, like a medical term, but in like that kind of for our mental health. Honestly, like the songs like You're My Medicine and stuff like that, that was for our fans. That was a love letter to our fans for waiting that long because we knew how annoying it was. But there was obviously a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes and all that. And it was just so those songs as well. We had some of those songs that potentially we were like, oh, well, the album two, like those were originally maybe going to be on an album two, but then we were like, no, we can push ourselves further to speak about what we've been through. It felt like it didn't represent an album two, but it felt like that perfect, like you said, that bridge between Afterthoughts, because Afterthoughts is its own thing. It's calm to storm. It's us grieving for 10 songs, and then we played live for the first time after Afterthoughts was released, and I think that injection of energy, and we kind of felt more confident, I guess, to even lean into our pop punk kind of side, and or even that fun emo side, and that heavier kind of stuff. So yeah, I feel like Antidote, I think if you love Afterthoughts and Antidote, you're gonna lose your mind to Seven Heart City because I think it's a perfect blend. I'm so proud of how we kind of kept true to ourselves, and we always knew the kind of album we wanted to make. We didn't look at what anyone else was doing. We were like, okay, we know the type of record we want to make. We've played shows now, we've toured America since then. We've done lived some of our biggest dreams, and I feel like that record represents. I think you can hear we're more confident. I think you can hear we've been through some crap. So, but there's hope in it, and that's what makes me so proud of it because when I listened to Cope in the Coma, the last song, I was literally listening to it today because I was like, oh, it's out a week. And I was just, usually I couldn't, like afterthoughts, I couldn't barely listen to it because I could hear how sad it was. And that makes me sad and I'm so proud of afterthoughts. Now I can listen to it. But I feel like when I listen to Severed Heart Say, I love that, like I said, there's hope in it. And it ends on a kind of high of everything's okay, even if you're sad, you're depressed, you can't get out of bed, it's okay. Because most people are going through that too. And you might not realize your favorite singer and your favorite band is probably as depressed as you are, you know? So, and it's all okay in the end. There is, as cliche as it is, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. It may be cliche, but it's such an important
Yeah.
message. And obviously, it does the passion that you've had, the energy you've put into that record really does shine through.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, listeners again need to obviously check out Severed Heart City, but they need to check out Antidote as well. Obviously, I say EP of the year, fantastic EP for us. And listeners, you can check that one out already because that one's already out. So go and check that one out. And as you say, Steph, you've been through a lot as a band. And obviously, big moment now to get this album out. So, the first track that came out from Severed Heart City was Acid Rain. So, I just want to ask you about Acid Rain because I'm always interested. The first song from any release, be it an EP or an album, is quite an important decision for a band to pick which song's going to lead the charge and obviously introduce the world to what is coming. So, the question is with Acid Rain, what stood out about the song to make it that important statement?
I feel like when it wasn't originally gonna be the first song, because I feel like when you're writing, you have a rough idea. When we were writing it last year, or the year, oh my God, my brain's gone because it's 2026. When we were writing it in 2024, we were like, oh, we thought Happy was gonna be the opener. And that was even, I don't think we had the verse of Acid Rain, but we hadn't fully, this was when we were writing for years, like when we've had Happy for a long time. That's been one of my favorite songs that I've been so excited for people to hear. And that was originally it felt like the opener, the big intro. We were like, oh, and it kind of had that different kind of sound and that we had previously done. So we were thinking, okay, that could be the opener. But then Acid Rain, when that came to life, that intro, like the synths and all that, it felt like it had to be first. It feels like even opening a show, having all that come out, and then there's like lights and smoke and stuff. It felt like you're arriving into Seven Heart City, you're in your cool car, like you're in a movie, and you're pulling up and you're about to cry. And you're about to like get rid of all your toxic friends and boyfriends and everything. So so yeah, it felt like the perfect opening. And then yeah, the track list then it kind of came together easy then because it felt like we wanted it, like I said, to be like a movie where you're going on the journey. And like I said, at the end, then cope in the coma, everything's okay. Kind of.
Yeah, it does flow that way. It is obviously just a well-structured album, and Antidote kicks the album off and obviously kicked the campaign off really well. And interesting, obviously, you say about Happy was potentially going to be that because obviously there was a bit of a delay in the release of the
Yeah.
album because of
Oh,
just,
I know.
yeah,
All
the
the
way the
fun
industry is.
stuff.
Exactly. So there's been quite a few singles that have come out from the album. Obviously, there's still a few tracks that listeners are going to get to hear for the first time when it comes out. And obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously, Happy is one that has not come out
Yeah,
yet. So
no,
it's gone
Carson.
from being potentially the first track single to not thus far being a single, which is
I
quite
know, it
interesting.
was so difficult trying to pick because I love them all. I wish, like, let's see if you can float. That's probably could potentially be my favorite on the whole album that we didn't even put that out as a single. So, but because I think it's different nowadays as well. We're lucky that everyone gets to hear albums. You can put out a lot of singles, whereas back in the day you had to be like, okay, we'll put out our hit single and hope. Like now, I feel like we're in a great time with like TikTok and Instagram that you can just anything can blow up. So yeah.
Absolutely agree. It is a great time to be a musician because it is obviously so. It's difficult at the same time. It's obviously, yeah, I think a phrase I've used a few times is this a time when it's never been easier to release music. It's
It's
never been
huge.
harder to be heard.
Yeah,
But
you said it. It always, me and Paul always say it's so frustrating when I hear bands complaining or artists complaining about TikTok and Instagram, and we're sitting here like, that's changed our lives. Like when we went through all that industry stuff before, we didn't have that. It's so like you can literally reach people easier than ever. You don't have to rely on a label or a major label backing you and pumping money into you and shelving your album or whatever. Like you can just literally put out a song like our song In Autumn. That was never a single, and it was 6 years later that it went viral and it changed our lives. And we got a whole massive fan base of people. We got to tour America, we got to play festivals in the UK and everything. So when I hear people complain, it frustrates me. So I'm so happy that you said that.
yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, I'm a massive music video fan, so I talk on this podcast always about music videos, and obviously grew up watching sort of music TV before school and after school, and
Yeah.
a lot of that is gone now. You know, there's no more Kerrang or Scars or MTV's now shut off. You know, it is sad, but obviously you've got YouTube and you've got TikTok, and there's still opportunities there. And I was going to highlight next, so this has been a great segue.
Yeah.
The music videos you've put together. We touched on the artwork and that whole aesthetic that accompanies obviously the songs that you've written. I think the videos you've obviously put a lot of love into those as well, and there will be links in the bio as always, and listeners need to go and check out the videos. So I just wanted to ask in general, you know, how important are music videos still to you?
So important. And I know when people are like, "Oh, but music videos are dead." They're never dead. Everything comes back around as well, always. Like even however long it takes, people they're like a evergreen content, and that's so important to us. And I feel like I couldn't do a an album campaign without a music video. I think I would lose my mind. So, and even now, like filming for Reels and TikTok, it's so like make it fun. We make it fun. We get to me and Paul recently been going around locations in our home, like on the side of a mountain, and we're filming, and it's like you're getting to do another extra video, even though the official music video is there. It's so cool getting to see a different even side of a visual, which is so cool. Like so even like our song Waterfall recently was going viral on Facebook and Reels. So and it was just me on the side of like a cliff kind of thing in our home up like an hour from where we live. And but there's an official music video too that explains and has like a story to it. But then the short form, it's so nice to have even to show people where we live, and maybe people might understand even the lyrics more when you see this is what we're inspired by, like the beauty of where we live and stuff. So I think music videos are so important, and I'm so sad that MTV and everything's gone. I remember the first time I saw ourselves on MTV Rocks, I cried.
I can
I was so
imagine.
happy. I was so happy.
Such an incredible moment, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, I've got to touch on obviously the beauty of where you live. Obviously, Ireland, I managed to take my family across about a
Oh,
year or so ago, and some of the stunning like visuals that you've obviously captured here in the video for Waterfall and others like, just
yeah.
took me back when I saw them and just thought, oh,
Oh,
I've got to come back again because I
oh,
didn't get to see as
definitely.
much as I'd like. So,
Oh, yeah, you need to come to Killarney. That's where it's at.
we stayed not far actually
Oh,
from there.
really?
Yeah, a little.
Oh,
I don't
amazing.
know. I can't remember what it was called, but it was in the sort of mountains, just not sort of
Oh,
far
amazing.
from there. It was beautiful, really, really
Oh,
stunning. So I definitely got to come back.
yeah.
Yeah, all I can remember is I wanted to go and see a concert while I was over there, but the little place we were staying in, they closed the road both ends. We were literally trapped in on
Oh,
the night the concert
no.
was, and we didn't
Oh,
realise. Thankfully, I hadn't bought the ticket. Although listeners,
oh.
you should buy tickets in advance. But yeah, I just remember being trapped, thinking I wanted to be at that concert, and I literally cannot leave. That was the only downside of the whole holiday, but it was
Oh,
yeah.
there was probably like some goats or sheep on the road or
Yeah.
something.
Stunning. So yeah, another thing for listeners to do, obviously visit Ireland. And next track I just want to touch on is one of the standouts. Although they're all standouts as you've touched on already, like fantastic. But the Scarecrow is one of your recent singles, and it comes. I think it's the penultimate track on the record, if I'm correct.
Yes, definitely.
And it's just such a beautiful song. Really, really enjoyed it. So, what could you tell us about the Scarecrow? What's it about? What does it mean to you?
So the Scarecrow, that chorus, your wounds are my wounds too. Me and Paul had that chorus for so long, and we were like that lyric is just so powerful. It was when it was. I remember Paul showed me that back when I was. It was when we had been dropped by everyone, and I was in it, yeah. And I was like, I was just so sad. I was depressed. I couldn't get out of bed, and I remember songwriting. I remember it was like songs like Swing and Sway came from that time, and I remember Paul showing me that chorus, and we could never find, felt like we could never write a verse to match how good it was, if that makes sense. And so then we kind of just had it in the back of our head. I'd be singing it all the time. I remember doing sound checks, always just singing it. I could just always had it there and thinking, oh, this is so good, but we can't, like, where do we place it? You have to have, like, is it going to be one of those songs where you just repeat it? Like, what do you do? And then as we were writing the record, I remember Paul one night was like, oh, I have this verse. I just wrote this verse and I don't think it's good. Like, it's just a rough kind of thing. And it was the first verse of The Scarecrow. And I remember him showing me that. And I was like, we need to put wounds on that because we used to always call it wounds. So I was like, we need to put wounds on that. And I remember like being like, how weren't you going to show me this? And he's like doubting himself, even that, like doubting yourself, thinking you're not good enough. That's what the song is even about. So I thought it was fitting even. And then yeah, we wrote the second verse and the right, we brought it all to life and it was great. And that song is so special because to us because I feel like even we really had to push ourselves to not erupt the music and erupt in me doing a big vocal or something. We had to really pull ourselves back. Whereas I feel like if it was Afterthoughts or even Antidote, we would have been like, no, we need to, I had a big heavy guitar there and we would have been, I feel like it captured how intimate the song is. We wanted it to feel like I'm in the room singing with you and we're all struggling here. So so yeah, I'm so glad that's a standout for you because it's one of my favorite songs we've ever written, and I hope we can write a better song than that someday.
Well, that'd be some achievement because it is a great song, and you said it's special for you, and I think it will be special for fans of the band that have followed your journey and obviously get to hear this record as a whole. And
Yeah,
the way it flows and it fits in there as that penultimate track,
yeah,
leading on to Cope as the last song.
yeah.
Obviously, yeah, it is just again. I said I would big up the record, which I think hopefully I've done a good job.
You're making me want to listen to it after this.
Absolutely, absolutely. As you should be able to. And what does obviously, now we're sort of wrapping up the talk on the album. What do you feel this album means to you now?
I feel like it made me believe in myself because and it's only recently that even after writing it, I feel like when I've listened to it recently, even I'm like, I'm so proud of it. And I've never been that of myself. I've realized even recently, I've been so harsh on myself. And that makes me so sad. And I feel like I feel like I can hear the growth even in me and even like Paul and songwriting, everything. I feel so proud of it and it gives me hope. So I hope if it gives someone else any bit of a glimpse of happiness, or even if you cry and hate yourself and listen to it, but it makes you feel like you're not alone, then I feel like I've done my job. And yeah, I'm just very proud of it, which is so weird for me to say because I feel like even a year ago I would be like, oh yeah, I'd just be kind of like, oh yeah, it's all right, yeah, yeah. And I'd just be so scared to talk about it and talk about myself. So, and I feel like that's the record is that. I feel like I've accidentally lived the record in now.
And I absolutely love that. That's so important. I just think it's fantastic to hear, and I can't wait for listeners to hear it. And you talked a lot about making people feel, and I think a quote from the review that I've written is that the record will hit you in the feels. And it
You
really
get
really will. Yeah.
it.
So yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. And obviously once it's out, the best thing is that bands get to go out and play shows, and obviously play songs live. So I'm hoping that that is the plan, and there'll be an opportunity to hear these songs live at some point.
oh yeah. Me and Paul are always plotting world domination. Just know that. Even if you have to wait a little bit, like we're coming. Like we'll arrive. We'll arrive. Everything takes time because everyone is lazy. But yeah, so you will get sick of us because we're going to be everywhere.
Well, that is good news.
Yeah, we're going to be announcing something next week.
Perfect.
So keep an eye out because we're coming. World domination for Greywind. Let's go.
I love it. Well, that's another excellent segue for me because I always give out the social handles, even though I think people are savvy enough to find them. It's just a bit of
Oh,
a tradition now, and they will pop up in the corner of the screen. And obviously, that's the best place to stay up to date. So when these shows are announced, that's where
yeah.
listeners, you need to make sure you're already following Greywind so that you can obviously pick a show and come along to it. And Instagram, X, and TikTok is all Greywind Band, and Facebook
Yes.
is simply just Greywind. Again, I would like to think people would find you without my
You'd be
help,
surprised.
but
You'd be surprised.
oh, some bands that I give these out, there's four different social handles, there's underscores, there's all sorts of stuff going
Yeah, we
on.
try to keep us.
You've done a very, very good job. Very,
Thank
very good job. So to bring the podcast home, just on the live topic still, we obviously always recognise on this podcast, obviously that the grassroots music venues are struggling. It isn't as easy, when a band wants to go out and play shows, it's not always as easy as going, oh, let's go play some shows. There's a lot that goes in behind it that
you.
fans might not realise, and obviously grassroots venues are so important. You don't get the Adeles and the Ed Sheerans of the world without them going through some really, really intimate, like independent venues first. So I always like to ask the guests just to give a shout out to a venue or two that is special to them. So Steph, what venues would you like to give a shout out to today?
I'm gonna say, oh, what's the Flapper in It's Birmingham?
Birmingham.
Birmingham,
Yeah.
Birmingham. The Flapper. We've played there so many times. I feel like I've played there like 12 times, but it's literally probably only been twice. But I feel I remember we did our first UK headline tour. We played the Flapper, and I remember there was a good crowd, and I was like shocked. People knew who we were. So that was great. We played it last year we did a little headline run around Slam Dunk, and we played there, and it felt like even the dressing room, it feels so intimate, which I love. I love club shows, but then I love big shows. So, but I feel like it's such a nice venue. Yeah, the Flapper.
Yeah. And a great name as well for a
I
venue. I
know
love
the
it.
Flapper. I could never
Yeah.
forget that.
Oh,
And I love as well the Grace in London. I love that. That's changed a lot as well. The name has changed like a million times.
yeah.
That was an island, I think, at one point. We've played there a lot. Probably too many times.
Not
But
possible.
exactly. And it has like the disco light up there, so I feel like I'm a pop star. It's great.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Two great venues, and I want to compile a list of all the venues that the artists on this podcast shout out and try and go to all of them myself. That's my
Oh, yeah.
ambition. And yeah, listeners, definitely support your local venues and bands such as Greywind as they come through. I mean, my New Year's resolution has got to be to come and see a Greywind
Oh,
headline show because I've caught
oh,
you at Slam Dunk and I caught you. I was trying to think a minute ago. It was back in the Afterthought era. It's either Reading or Leeds, one of the two, because I used to go
back when
to
I had brown hair
alternate.
then.
So yeah, caught you at a couple of festivals, but not a headline show
Oh,
yet. So New
oh,
Year's resolution, I'm going to
oh.
come and do that for sure.
We'll put
So
all the effort in knowing you're there.
appreciated, and appreciate all the effort you have put into Severed Heart City. Such a fantastic album. Again, for me, listeners, to close the podcast, really check out Antidote. Obviously, get Severed Heart City in physical format, preferably as it comes out. Follow the band and get to the shows as they get announced. That is my closing message.
Amazing.
But I always give the final message to the guests. So, Steph, what would be your final message for the listeners today?
Oh my God, I could say anything right now.
You could. I do get some funny stuff.
I'm gonna keep it about Greywind and Severed Heart City. If you listen to Severed Heart City, then I hope that you enjoy it, first of all. I hope, like you saying, I hope it makes you feel something. Because I think music sometimes, especially nowadays, I feel like some people put out music for trends or TikTok and stuff, and I feel like that's the bad side, but I want people to know there is a good side. And hopefully when you listen to Severed Heart Say, you'll realize there is a good side and know that people still do have hearts. And everyone's human and we all go through bad days and good days. And yeah, and I hope that you enjoy it. And I have nothing else to say. I'm trying to finish the sentence and I'm like, oh, I don't know what to say. But
No.
yeah, yeah, I hope you like it. And if you don't, then please do not tell me.
A fantastic final message. Steph, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Thank you. It's been so
Uh,
fun.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. I really do hope you enjoyed that chat there with Greywind. Do make sure you check out their new album, Severed Heart City, which is out on the 16th of January. And of course, follow the band across social media to stay up to date with everything coming from them. While you're there, you can also stay up to date with Full Pelt. We're on Facebook at Full Pelt and on Twitter and Instagram at Full Pelt Music. All that's left for me to say is please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you will, and we'll be back very soon with another episode of the Full Pelt Music Podcast.